Very quickly, before we get into what they can get for him, which might be the most interesting part, I feel like over the years, we've seen a million of these situations that looked irreconcilable, and then it didn't wind up turning out that way. Do you believe Antonio Brown has played his last game in Pittsburgh?
Well, I'm going to take the owner's word for it, too. I mean, look, the Steelers are one of the most linear organizations in professional sports, period, meaning owners own, managers manage, coaches coach, players play. And they really don't kind of step on each other's toes. They let it kind of play itself out that way. Now, when ownership comes out now and says, I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where Antonio Brown is on my football team, well, he's the guy who owns the darn thing. So, I mean, I think you should probably go ahead and take him at his word for it, because he can tell Mike Tomlin and tell Kevin Colbert, the GM, what to do or what not to do at any time he wants to. So when he puts that out there, it's called, yeah, business is booming, all right. We're open for business. So come get it. Let's see what you have for our player.
And if you look at the Rooneys, the Maras, the Hunts, like these are, like you said, linear organizations. The owners don't have press conferences like Jerry Jones after every single game. They're not saying anything offhanded or anything that's flippant to try to make sure that they're placating their fan base. They're saying things with intent, and they're saying things with purpose. And I think this also might be a shot from Art Rooney to the rest of the Steelers organization, where this isn't happening anymore. This behavior is not going to be tolerated. We're getting back to what we were in the 90s and 2000s. Mike Tomlin, get it cleaned up, and we're going to push this out so that we can't have this in our locker room.
Yeah, okay. I think the one person who, without a doubt, can affect the most positive change on this organization is just the head coach, Mike Tomlin. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of time to kind of self-assess exactly what his management and coaching style really is all about and how much of it led to this situation right here and how much of it he could have prevented had he kind of tightened things up a little bit more, and I think he'll do that.
I think that when history tells the story of this season for the Steelers, the Le'Veon Bell thing is going to wind up having played a far greater role than has even been mentioned to this point. But let's put that to the side for a moment and just have some fun with some fantasy football. So now you're trading Antonio Brown. Lewis, what do you need to get back for him?
Oh, geez. You know what? This could be one of those. I don't really know. I haven't given much thought as to what would you want to get in return for a player like this.
What are you giving up for? What are you giving up for?
It's expensive.
I mean, obviously, we're obviously talking number one draft picks here, and I don't know how many of them we're talking. I don't know what kind of combination, what kind of package deal you're looking at here. And it's really going to depend upon whether you think you are a number one perimeter playmaker away from being a real Super Bowl threat. Then obviously, what you're willing to give up is going to be a lot more. And all it takes is just one. We've seen crazy deals in the past. I think you're going to see a crazy deal for this one, too.
Well, if you look at it, one team that you could argue is a number one receiver away, and you've seen them make these moves in the past, and I don't know if the Rooneys could make this deal, the New England Patriots.
Whoa.
Could you imagine that? That would be a fascinating one.
Yeah.
AB with the Pats.
They could certainly use that. Look, I mean, here in consecutive days now, we've had Odell Beckham traded on this show, and we've had Antonio Brown traded on the show.
We're trading
having
everybody.
a terrific time.